Not everything free is good for you. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. Now, remember, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow all the information I have in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. Now, this is the Haves and the Have-Nots, Season 8, Episode 3, and the name of this episode is Pray to Me. I must say, Tyler, this was a really damn good episode. I mean, things are moving, and I was literally at the edge of my seat, this was really good, so let me begin. The episode picked up where it left off. George, old, simple, smug ass, decides to arrest Catherine, and he's, all got his chest poked out like, this is for Jennifer Salison. I'm like, if you don't take your weak ass on somewhere, and pretty much, she's like, I had nothing to do with that. And George was like, well, why did Jim have my assistant steal evidence from the, evidence room? And she pretty much was like, you little overcompensating bastard. You obviously don't know how much power I have in this town. I'm gonna have all your jobs. And then while they're escorting her outside, her and Wyatt go back and forth. And he's talking all this shit. Like, Wyatt is a fucking retard. Like, Wyatt needs to be put in a damn straitjacket with his dumb junkie ass. He talking about, I let you live tonight. And she's like, yeah, and I will live to make you regret what you did. And then he was like, why are they arresting you? And, they said she's being arrested for the murder of Jennifer Salison. And then Wyatt was like, really? Finally, finally you're getting what you deserved. I mean, shoot, you tried to throw me in jail. She said, because you needed to pay for what you did. And he was like, I've been paying ever since I was born, bitch. Uh-huh. Yeah, take her ass away. Uh-huh. Like, I'm like, Wyatt, see, this is why you don't let junkies play with weapons. Okay, so then after they take Hannah when they take Catherine into the car and they pull off, Hannah has a conversation with Wyatt. He's saying, could you pray for me? And she's like, yeah, I'll pray for you. He's like, well, actually, you should pray to me. After all, I did let her live, so I am God. She was like, baby, you don't need to be playing with that, and you really need help. I mean, aren't you happy that I killed the bastard? And she's like, what? He's like, aren't you happy that I killed the bastard? I'm God. I helped out you and I helped out Benny. And she's like, Benny, what are you talking about? And he said that he was going to have Benny kidnapped until he got that money back. As a matter of fact, where is my money? And I was like, oh my God, this fool is doing entirely too much. Like, I just can't with Wyatt and his bullshit. I mean, shoot, you saw what I did with you saw how she was, like, turned over in the tub? Flash, bitch. And, Hannah just couldn't deal with it no more. She tries to call Benny, but she's not able to reach him. George and Hannah have a conversation, and George is still being smug. She tells George that Wyatt has said that Jim was going to have Benny kidnapped. And she was saying that, well, why would he want to do that? And she missed, my daughter Candace has his money, but she was going to return it to him tomorrow. I'm like, you are telling this asshole too much. Now George going to be on your doorstep trying to start shit. You already know he fucking, anxious to get to arrest motherfuckers so he can get his quota, so he can move up the ranks with his weak ass. And then pretty much she asked, is my son in danger? And he was like, I don't know. So she calls Candace to ask, like, where's Benny? I've been calling him and I haven't been able to get his phone. He's like, oh, he's out with Mitch, And she says, find your brother. And She asks, and Candace asks, how's Jim? And she's like, don't worry about that. You need to find, your brother and make sure that Mitch is doing what he's supposed to do. She said that, first of all, ain't nobody gonna mess with Benny as long as, Mitch is there. You know what I'm saying? Mitch's last name alone goes a long way. So ain't nothing gonna happen to Benny, but I'll go find him. So then we see, back in Detroit, Charles is contemplating and call Candace, but decides to go to number 2, which is this girl named Gretchen. And Gretchen is one cock hungry whore, because she's like, I'm on my way. He's like, you don't have to come tonight. Oh no, I can come. I'm on my way. And boy, I can't wait to talk about her ass, because she was a piece of work. Then back at the Criers mansion, David and Jeffrey arrive. They talk to George and they ask what's going on. They said he tells them that Jim's at the hospital and that Catherine's in jail. And it's like, for what? And all of a sudden, George, for the murder of Jennifer Sellison. I'm like, ooh. Like, George is just one of those people that you just want to slap the shit out of, because he just has this little high level of arrogance because he's such a fucking worm. And I just can't stand George, like, straight up, because, he gonna end up dating like Jennifer Sellison. Keep fucking with Catherine. You think that you got this whole thing licked. You have no idea what you done brought upon yourself, George. Keep it up. And then we see that Jeffrey goes to talk to Wyatt. Wyatt was like, I did it. I told you I was gonna do it. But you didn't want to believe me. I did it. I killed them. I killed the bastards. And Jeffrey's like, would you shut the hell up? You do not need to be saying that in here, because they know damn well that they probably recording in the damn police car, and Wyatt is so fucking stupid, he ain't even thinking. And he did admit that he killed Amanda. So when they play that shit back, that may come at the bite Wyatt in his motherfucking ass, and I hope it does. Because I'm getting sick of Wyatt in his old junky ass. Like, I've had enough of all the junkiness throughout the seasons. Like, it's about time somebody put Wyatt out of his misery. Either put him in a straitjacket or kill his ass. And they're trying to tell him to stop talking. And George tells David that there's a detective, Donnelly, who can fill him in more as to what happened. And, they go and, like, Jeffrey's trying to tell Wyatt to be quiet, and he's like, dude, you're about to go to jail. Like, you're about to make it worse. He's like, I don't care. I'm sick of this life. And he says that, dude, you're going to regret this. You need to stop it. He's like, I ain't regretting nothing. I killed Jim Cryer. Wyatt Cryer killed Jim Cryer. Like, just doing the most. So when David goes to talk to the detective, he lets him know that that Jim was shot, but it was from an old model shotgun, and it was only a half-load bullet that hit him because the gun was for quail hunting. Granddaddy Cryer obviously liked to hunt quails, So then we had this showdown between Hannah and David. They go back and forth. She asks, he's asking Hannah, like, where's Jim? And she's like, well, when I came in, they was rolling Jim in the hospital. And she says that, you know what? You and Jim are thick as thieves. If Jim was going to have my son kidnapped, who would he call? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, Hannah. He's like, oh, so you just gonna lie to my face? You two have always run neck and neck, and y'all always know each other's dirty secrets. So what the hell? And he was like, you're gonna talk about your son when obviously I need to find out what happened to Jim. She's like, yeah, because he's my son and I gotta protect him. Like, what's going on? And he's like, Hannah, I gotta go. Because really, David doesn't know. Jim has done this little whole operation on his own. And even though Jim right now is fighting for his life, the operation commences. And I'm going to get to it. So So then when David go outside with Jeffrey, Wyatt's still talking shit, and I'm just like, y'all need to. He's like, no, wait, just leave his ass there. Ain't nothing we can do for him. Let's go to the hospital. Like, fuck Wyatt. And I'm like, good. About time somebody said it. So then we get this scene with Veronica and Derek. Veronica calls Derek and she tells him, I need to talk to you. And he's like, well, talk to me. She said, no, I want you to come to my house. He's like, why can't I just talk to you over the phone? She's like, because I don't want to talk to you over the phone. You got 30 minutes. I know you need time to navigate through the thugs, but be at my house for 30 minutes or there will be consequences. And then he was like, look, Veronica. She hung up on him. He was like, ooh, that bitch. I was like, all right, David's starting. That hood about to come back. He about to whoop Veronica's ass because she keep coming for him. And like, right now he at the edge of his rope. Hannah just found out that not only did he rape her, but then he also found out that Candace is his daughter. He is not in a space for Veronica and her bullshit. So we're gonna see how that gonna play out. Then we see Gretchen. Now, I don't know about y'all, but didn't Gretchen give y'all Candace and Jim tease in the episode 1 of season 1 when Candace came in there with that jacket and revealed her little sexy nightie with the fishnets ready to get down to business? Gretchen was serving the same type of thing. She was serving, she was literally serving, candy cane, well, nah, I ain't gonna say candy cane because that's Candace, but she was literally serving popsicle on the late night, and they haven't seen each other for 11 months. She knows about Candace through the papers, and he's like, and she's all being judgmental, like, I don't know what you would want with someone like that. He's like, don't come up in here and judging her. And then she's like, let me stay. Let me help you take your mind off her. I'm like, aren't you a little, aren't you a little thought? And then he was like, well, what about your little boyfriend? She's like, oh, we broke up. That's why I came here. And he's like, I want to make your body feel good. And then next thing you know, she takes off the coat, reveals her little nightie and, her negligees and everything. Was like, I only need an hour. Classic hoe move. All right, let's keep this going. All right. So then we see that Landon talks to Adeline. He needs a favor, and he also has to remind her that didn't I, do a story, the story about your daughter? Didn't I have that kill for you? This whole thing about Candace Young. Can we get that story killed? And he's like, yes, that's great. So then he gets a knock on the door, and it's Scott. Him and Scott go back and forth, and he lets him know, well, how's your wife? How's your little baby? So you need to come clean. What's your affiliation with the attorney general? Off the record. And he's like, I don't have anything to say about that. And he says, well, what is it about Candace Young? And he's like, why would you bring her up? And he was like, I knew you were in Savannah. And how is your wife, by the way? He's like, why do you keep asking about my wife? I'm just trying to have an honest conversation. He's like, it seemed to me that you're trying to look for leverage. Landon was like, I already got that. So are you going to finally tell me why the Attorney General is hot after Candace Young? And Scott spilled the beans. He was like, she robbed him, but she didn't know it was him, but she robbed him for not even $2,000. So Landon now put it together. Oh, so this is what he did. So he can take out Charles and her at the same time. And Scott was like, look, you ain't hear this shit from me, and I will be calling you for a favor very soon. And then after he leaves, all of a sudden Oliver comes in there all happy and shit. Was like, he's like, look, I talked to Charles. He wants to see you in the morning. And he's like, oh, great. And he's like, but I wouldn't tell him that story that you try to concoct with Adeline, though. And he was like, and then Landon was like, you need to let the master work. I know what I'm doing. And he's like, I know how to get to him. And all of a sudden, they go back and forth, and Oliver's like, so do I. He's like, but Landon's like, but I know him. And all of a sudden I was like, I know him too. I'm like, are you two queens literally going back and forth fighting over Charles? Charles right now is playing spin the Gretchen, at the fucking mansion. He ain't thinking about you two whores. And then he again went after his hair, like, you need to do something with your hair. Like, oh my god, what is that, like a woodpecker or something? What? And I'm like, Landon, you are such a messy bitch. You need to sit your ass down. So then we see Mitch and Benny at the strip club. Benny wants to get his phone because he left the phone in Mitch's car. Mitch says, nah, man, just chill. Let's have fun. He's like, what if my mom called me? He's like, dude, are you really thinking about your mom right now? He's like, yeah, but he's like, dude, get your mind right. Like, we up in here with all this. You don't need to be, like, let's loosen up. Because they in there with strippers, with thongs, booties clapping, titties popping. I mean, they are in there getting their life. So Benny was like, okay, fine. And then Mitch was like, and then all of a sudden he was like, well, it's funny you say that and you got your phone. So Mitch turns his phone off. And then all of a sudden, they getting turned up and everything. And then all of a sudden, this girl Bella comes to offer Benny a private dance. And we see there's some goons over there, and I'm like, oh shit, these are the goons that Jim set on Benny to kidnap him. And I'm like, see, and Benny deserves it because Benny's a fucking idiot. And Benny's full of himself. And Benny ain't shit. So, yeah, y'all can torture the fuck out of Benny. I'm here for it because Benny ain't learned his fucking lesson yet. Dumb motherfucker. Anyway, so the girl Bella decides to offer him a private dance for free. Now, Bella got all this ass and all these tits. She got big tits and she got a fat ass, and she is literally clapping that booty. Trust and believe. You go to a strip club, even though I'm gay, I definitely love the girls. So I've been to strip clubs before. So trust and believe, if she wants to give you a private dance, you paying one way or the other. And Benny, since he got a EBT mentality, was like, oh, for free? Okay. He goes in there with her ass. She starts dancing for him and shit. She roofies his drink, and the next thing you know, she dancing on him and all that. And, I'll get back to Benny after that. But then, yeah, that's where we left Benny's sorry ass. But we saw that Mitch kind of looked at those goons kind of funny, like, who the fuck are these guys? And what the hell's going on over there with that? Then we get a quick scene with Broderick and Ricky. Broderick and Rocky, I'm sorry. Rocky, I think in a way is kind of a little jealous of Broderick because he got this good setup. But then again, Rocky is thinking realistic that, look, this shit may be good, but I don't think this shit gonna last. Broderick is so fucking cocky and full of himself. He really think that, he about to come up, and he's like, I found the deed to the place and it's all paid for. And Rocky comes to give Broderick his cut because Rocky is still running girls at the Artesian Hotel. And he's like, so pretty much he was like, dang. And Rocky is trying to tell Broderick, I think this whole situation gonna backfire on you. But Broderick, with his Latin penis, still thinking that, that he's God and that he got this whole thing set up. And really, he's about to get screwed in the worst way. And then he was saying, and then he's asking about the FBI. Did they come back? And Rocky's like, nah. I'm like, Rocky could be fucking saying shit, and they could be using him as a pawn to get Broderick's ass. You never know, cause in this game you can't trust nobody. Everybody's a criminal, and that's on some real shit. So he asked, he's like, so all they wanted was candy. He's like, yeah. He's like, what about RK? Man, RK's long gone. We ain't thinking about his ass. And that was the end of that. Then we see Gretchen and Charles in bed. And she's like, oh, I missed you. And he's like, yeah, I missed you. She's like, no, boo-boo. You missed Candace. You called her name twice. Uh-huh. And it's okay, because I know that's where your heart is. It was angry. And he was like, excuse me? She was like, angry sex. She says that when you grabbed into the mattress, you broke two of your nails. So what you gave me was angry sex. So he's like, you need to call her. And she's like, you need to call her and work that out. And he was like, oh no, she's a mess. And she was like, and so are you. And she was saying, excuse me. She's like, look, you're just as a mess as she is. The only difference is that you got a super PAC that can clean up your shit. She doesn't have the kind of money to have access to that. You know what I'm saying? So, he's like, well, how would I work that back? How would I get back to her? And she was like, use your snake charm. It worked on me. And he was like, it didn't take much to get your ass here. And I'm like, yeah, because she's a whore. She's a high-priced whore, but she's a whore. And all of a sudden, she was like, won't you stay the night? She's like, oh no, I gotta go because Barry is still in bed. He's like, I thought you broke up with him. She's like, oh no, I left his ass in bed to come see you. And I'm like, thirsty whore, and I'm like, that shit may come back to bite your ass, Charles. So you need to be watching this bitch. And she was like, girl, he was like, girl, you ain't learned. you something else. Cause like, shoot, you just so spoiled. Your daddy spoiled you rotten. But he's like, but I thank you though. And she's like, oh, don't thank me like I'm some whore. You can save that for Candace. And I was like, oh, bitch, don't come for Candy Cane. Because at the end of the day, honey, you up in there thinking you serving Laffy Taffy and all you served was salt water, bitch. Because he's still thinking about Candace's ass. How about that, Gretchen? Yeah, run and tell that, Gretchen. And her ass ends up leaving. Oh yeah, I talked about that shit. So in the hospital, they rush Jim in. Celine, because she works the graveyard shift as a janitor. She runs into Madison, and she's like, "What's going on?" And she's like, and blah blah. And like, Madison's like, "Girl, what are you doing? You need to get back to your job." She's like, "No. I need to know what's going on. Was that Jim crying?" She's like, "What if it is? Like, how do you know him?" She says, "He's the father of my two sons." And she was like, "Oh, okay." And she was like, did somebody shoot him? And he says, it appears that. She's like, who shot him? And he's like, I don't know. So that was the end of that. Then Candace is still at the Crier's house. I'm sorry, Hannah is still at the Crier's house. Forgive me. She calls Candace, asking, Benny and all that. She says, I tried calling Benny. I'm not getting Benny and I'm not getting Mitch, but I'm at this club where they normally go to. And then she's like, how's Jim? And Candace want to know how Jim is, well, because I think Candace is thinking about taking that damn money. And she's like, don't worry about Jim. Try to find your brother. So then we get a scene with Landon and Oliver. Landon gets a knock on the door. He thinks it's a piece of ass. And it's nothing but damn, Oliver's ass. He's like, man, what the hell you want? I thought it was something else. And he was like, did you hear about the drama in Savannah? The Criers and the Harringtons? There was a shootout at both of their houses. And this is what you got our president-elect involved in? I'm like, Landon, Oliver wants your spot. Oliver's gonna be a fucking problem because I think Oliver is working with the Attorney General. I really do. I don't trust Oliver for shit because Oliver is too busy injecting himself into everything Landon's doing. And Landon is being too much of this stuck-up queen that she don't know that this loose queen is trying to take her spot. You better watch yourself, bitch. Stop, cat fighting with his dumb ass. So then we get a scene where after, Oliver leaves, Landon calls Jeffrey. They go back and forth and Landon starts reminiscing and shit like, yeah, he's like, he starts talking about what's going on with Detroit, with him in Detroit. And he was, asking what was going on there and all of that. And they go back and forth and he was saying that, and Landon was like, well, I don't really want to talk about what's going on over here because I know you guys are going through enough. He was like, but no, I need this to clear. I need something to clear my head. He's like, oh yeah, I wish I was there to really clear your head. And he was like, Landon, Boo Boo, you still on that? I was like, Jeffrey just shut that bitch down, and Landon got on his face like, well, you gotta be so mean about it. He's like, I'm not being mean, I'm just being truthful. You don't do it for me, honey. I'm like, yeah, he been getting crazy. He been getting crazy ass from Justine, aka Justin. And looks like Justin is gonna be trying to get him some of that Madison. Mm-hmm. So we gonna see how that's gonna play out, Jeffrey. And he was just saying that, I just want to let you know I'm thinking of you. And Jeffrey was like, thank you. I was like, damn. Landon just so horny. Like, it's so sad. So then we get a scene with Veronica and Derek. Derek finally shows up to Veronica's house. They go back and forth, and Veronica tells him, Real gave me up and said that I was the one that planted that bomb. You gave me to him, so I need every single information on him. His, does he have wife? Does he have kids? His whole entire family. And she was like, well, why can't you get that yourself? And she was like, excuse me? Like, let's be real, Veronica. You a whore that likes to screw your clients. You a whore who thinks she's above the law. And you a whore that hates the gutter so much that you love to lie in it. I'm like, you better get her ass, Derek. Tell that bitch about herself. That's what's up. But then she said, you need to do this for me. And he says, and if I don't, she says, then I'm going to go after everyone you love. And I'm like, see, here she go with the bullshit. Now, Mitch is still in the club, Benny in the back somewhere, and he was like, and she was like, he was, and like one of the girls is like dancing for him or whatever, and he's like, yo, and she's like, why you keep looking back there? And he was like, yo, my boy went back there. I want to know what's going on with that. And, and he got it for free too? Like, shoot, I'm trying to see what's up. And old girl was like, oh, no, honey. We don't do nothing for free. And he's like, excuse me? She just said that. Yeah. If she said that, that means he's paying in another way. And sure enough, when he went back into that back room, Benny's ass was gone. That roofie done worked itself up and them goons got his ass. So that was Jim's hit to kidnap Benny. And I'm so here for it because Benny is a piece of shit. And he's getting on my nerves. So hopefully this will get him back to earth and he'll stop being on his bullshit. But that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I actually enjoyed this episode and I can't wait till next week. So until next time, everybody, take care.